How do you save money on a minimum wage job as well as on a low income? I feel like it's very important that we address this because it's so important that you understand that when you spend money, family, you're actually, if you really break down the word spend, what's the last three letters? END, meaning that it's ending. There's no beginning in what you're doing. So I want to go ahead and break down some of the things that I was going through when it came to me budgeting my money, me learning how to save, and it's very, very important that you guys learn the same thing. What's going on, you guys? This is your boy Char Slay here, and YouTube, I got something serious for y'all. This is some different content. From now on, I want to go ahead and broaden my horizon and teach you guys more than just Forex. I want to talk about finance in general because they all are the same thing. They all entangle in their own way. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So I want to go ahead and say this first. This is just research that I've done. This is not my own idea. I want to go ahead and break that down for you guys first because I don't want you to think that I've gotten this from myself. This is massive research that I've done over several hours to go ahead and relay this to you guys because I want to make sure that you guys are getting the best value and the best material and the best bang for your buck, right? Even though this is free. So how do you save? Saving is pretty much budgeting, understanding your income and your expenses so you can actually have an idea of what's coming in, what's going out. You guys heard of energy in, energy out, right? It's the same thing when it comes to your saving, when it comes to your budgeting. Budgeting is how much income is coming in compared to how much is coming out. And this goes back to what I was saying, spending, because most of the time we spend first, then do our expenses. But that's not or we do our expenses and then spend. It doesn't matter. We still mess up, right? We still fuck up when it comes to stuff like this. So I want you guys to understand that budgeting is a financial plan so you can understand your income and your expenses, and so you can become successful and understand that when you have a plan without a strategy is a tragedy. So you need to plan and be intentional with every single thing that you actually want to pay for and what's actually coming in. So there are 6 different ways that I want you guys to budget your money: emergencies, investments, debt, your travel fund, your charity, as well as your expenses. Now, the reason why I say expenses last is it's on purpose because we usually like to spend first, right? And like I said, we're not here to spend first. We're here to give our money jobs. The issue with people who are broke is because they are not giving their money jobs and they're living above their means, right? So I really want you guys to understand that if you learn how to give your money jobs, then you will literally become successful at everything you want to do in life. Because let me explain. This is what we do. In emergencies, all you're doing is putting a certain amount of money in emergencies. So then when you get to, or all 5 of those first ones, right? So when you get to that expenses tab, that's where you live off of. So you hear a lot of billionaires, especially Warren Buffett. He says he literally only lives off 100K. Now, he's a billionaire. He only lives off 100K. I want you to understand why. Because he does the first 5 steps first. Then he does his living, right? So if you understand that he does every 5 steps first and then does the expenses, you only need to live off 100K. You guys want to look all lavish. I mean, think about how our minds work, right? It's a mind shift. When we're broke, we like to look rich. When people are rich, they like to look broke. Why is that? Because it's a mind shift. Rich people know that they're not here to impress anybody. So why are broke people who are actually broke trying to impress people who are also broke? It doesn't make any sense. But rich people don't need to impress people who are rich because they're all rich, right? It's just a mindset shift. You guys have to really understand why certain people have their expenses last. And I have my expenses last. Maybe in another video I'll break down how exactly my investments and my expenses actually work. But I want to go ahead and break down how to actually budget your money first. All right, so second thing you guys need to do besides actually breaking down what you will be doing. Now, mind you, when I put emergency, charity, debt, and all that other stuff, follow those exact instructions. Follow those instructions. Don't stray away from the plan. Because that's how the thing is when somebody tells you to do something, you like to add different things and switch certain things up and try to be flexible in ways that you don't need to be flexible with. No, follow the plan and make it plain. Write it down, make it plain. Speaking of writing things down, what I want you guys to do is write down your income and write down your expenses. All right, so I pretty much, if you guys don't know, I came out with a Notion template before. I'll link it up here somewhere, but I came out with a Notion template breaking down the budget, how I budget, a simple way of budgeting your money, so you guys can actually have an idea of how I do it. I'll also link it in the description so you guys can, have that as well for you. But you want to write down your income and your expenses, because you want to understand you really want to understand the comparison. How much is coming in and how much is coming out? Most of the time, you have more expenses than you do your income, and you're ended up being negative, meaning you have a negative balance in your account as well, and then you're always playing catch up. It's because you're living beyond your means. I'm going to break down very soon on how exactly I have my cards, so we'll get to that in a second. So you saw that I have 6 different ways that I budget my money, but we're only going to use 4 different accounts, right? So I want you to create 4 accounts. You probably already have one, which is your expenses. So create 3 different accounts, right? So you want to have expenses, you want to have debt, you want to have your emergencies, as well as you want to have your fun money, right? And we'll, like I said, I'll break down the cards and et cetera, so you guys can have a better understanding on how exactly I do things, right? So you want to have 4, because the reason why investments and charities are not in not in the 6 or not in those accounts is because in the expenses, let's say, for example, stimulus. If you guys just got your stimulus check, $1,400 or whatever the case may be, as soon as it hits your account, boom, investments and charity is already being deducted automatically out of that account. So if you're using Robinhood, Weebles, M1 Finance, Acorns, whatever the case may be, those automatically get deducted as soon as that stimulus check hits your account. So you don't need to create 2 different accounts that's already being deducted, right? You don't need to do any of that. Your specific charity comes out every single month, and I'll break down the percentages of why it's coming out every single month and what app I use to make sure that you guys give away. Let's talk percentages, right? Let's talk about what needs to be done first in order for you to really become successful in this. Most of you guys have debt, like myself, right? I have debt that I'm actually paying off. I'm not going to be touching my specific student loans, because I have a plan for that, and that's going to be another video on its own. But I have a plan on how exactly I'm going to get my student loans. I have minimal credit card debt. All right, so my credit cards, if you guys don't know already, which you don't, which I'm going to explain to you right now. With my credit cards, I have simple bills like Netflix, Patreon, stuff like that, which we'll get to that later. I have stuff like that that's coming out of these accounts. Now, mind you, I have over $2,000 worth of credit cards, and I'm only using 10%. And you guys do not want to pass 10%. Why am I saying this? Because of the fact of, if you pass 10%, then your credit score will drop. They always say 30%, but it's really 10%. Do not pass the 10% threshold. Now, there's different types of debt. There's bad debt and there's good debt. Now, what classifies good and bad? Good debt is when you actually have a plan to multiply that debt to make more money. For example, real estate. You're using good debt to gain more wealth. There's a difference. But if you're just swiping credit cards to buy new things that you can't afford on your own, that's considered bad debt. And if you have bad debt, this is what we want to focus on first. You want to start off having you want to have it. So for example, you have expenses that's coming through that one account. With that one account, like I said, investments and charity already comes out. But you want to disperse that. As soon as your money, your income comes in that one account, it disperses into those other 3. Right? And now we're talking about debt. As soon as your income hits that first account, that expenses account, you have 26% of your income going to the debt. 26%, because our job is to knock out your debt first. Your debt is key. The less debt you have, the more money you're able to invest, the more money you're able to disperse, the more emergencies you're able to have, and etc. Right? So you want to get rid of your debt first. So if you guys have high interest debt, anything with high interest, get rid of that first. Use the avalanche method where you get rid of the highest interest rate first, and then work those put them down in order, and then go way down, and then pay for everything else. Right? So student loan obviously right now is 0 in interest, but credit cards are still high as hell. So go ahead and make sure that you pay those things off, so you guys can make sure that you have no debt later. Next thing is your emergencies. Emergencies, I want you to start off with 5 to 10%. All right, I usually would say 10%, but we're gonna go with 5 to 10%, right? And debt obviously can be 26 to 40, right? It's really up to you guys. These percentages are the only thing you're able to be flexible on. If you guys have high debt, make sure debt has one of the highest percentages besides the expenses. if you want to go ahead and if you have low debt, then go ahead and raise their emergencies, because with emergencies, you want to out the gate save $1,000. If you have $1,000, put it in your emergency. Put it in your emergency fund. Make sure obviously bills are paid. If you're getting paid, let's say your expenses are $1,000, and I'm sorry, your income is $3,000. Your expenses are $1,000. Put $1,000 strictly towards emergency, right? And then $1,000 we'll talk about the rest of everything. Put $1,000 towards emergency. You want to start off with $1,000 because when you start off with $1,000, your goal is to get 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses saved up. After 3 to 6 months of your expenses, then we shut it down. You don't even add any more. You don't add any more unless you want to, right? So that allows you to put more into the investments, right? So let's go ahead and get it. And if you guys don't know, I'm looking at some notes here, so I can go ahead and I wrote things down. Like I said, research is key, right? So next thing is your fund money. Fund money, you want to start off with 1 to 5%. All right, 1 to 5%. It's very key that you guys start off with 1 to 5%, because you're gonna probably think, oh my God, 1 to 5%. What am I supposed to do with 1%? What am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with 5%? Look, it's gonna be a struggle, but you will work hard now, play later. You will be grateful later on that you went ahead and did 1 to 5% of your income, and buy yourself some guacamole. I know this person that his name is Tommy Bryson. If you guys don't know him, he went ahead, was literally investing $7 a week, and his fund money allowed him to get some extra guacamole and Chipotle. That man right there is the truth, because now he's making over $500,000 in investments because he stayed on track and was disciplined. So I want you guys to understand, 1 to 5% for your fund money. Make sure you use it every single day. You use it every week, family. Use your fund money. It's there for a reason. Don't just try to hold it out and try to be no, it's fund money. Spend it however you like. But do not go crazy with your emergency, your debt, your expenses. Mind you, your expenses are on auto pay because everything else is coming out. So if you have 54% left in expenses, right, then you need to lower your income. I'm sorry, not lower your income, lower your expenses and raise your income, right? So let's say, you have investments and they're automatically getting, transferred out of your expenses as well as charity. After that, you have about 50 or so percent in expenses. So let's say you were living off 90% of your expenses, 90% of your income, right? You need to reduce that down to 50% of your income. So then all of that, or if you have subscriptions, if you have anything that you don't necessarily need, live with intentionality, family. If you don't need it, get rid of it, right? If you know that 50% is $1,000 a month, but your expenses are $2,000 a month, then you need to get rid of that $2,000. Maybe you need to sell the car. Maybe you need to only buy used cars. Maybe you need to get rid of that Netflix if it's not helping you, right? If you can't afford it, drop it down to 50%, and then everything else is on auto pay. So you're now your expenses you don't ever have to worry about because they are on auto pay. Auto pay. All right, so it's very, very important that we talk about investments. Investments is key. Investments is when you use 10 to 20% of your income, right? 10 to 20% of your income. Now these numbers I'm using as a ballpark. You can pick and choose however you want. Like I said, it's gonna, sometimes you guys might be 30%. So it's whatever works for you and your financials, as long as it adds up to 100% at the end of the day. And as long as you guys understand that debt, if you have debt, it comes first. It comes first. So investments, how do we use investments? Investments can be anything. All right. So there's different ways that you can use your investments. You can use Roth IRAs. You can use Forex. You can use individual stocks. You can use real estate. You can use plenty of things that make sense. Courses, invest in yourself, right? So investment money is very key. The investments that you make off your income, is the whole goal of it is to create it in a passive way. You're not trying to make active income anymore. Your goal is to make passive income, where money flows in with you being asleep or with you being awake. It doesn't matter. Your money is coming, right? So you want to make sure that your income is passive. Active income is cool. Your goal is to convert that active into passive. So if you can convert that active into passive income, you're on the road, right? So look, investments is very, very key. You want to have those automatically coming out of your expenses. Now, your fun money, right? Let me go ahead and show you guys how I have everything set up. So this is my wallet, right? If you guys can't see, boom. This is my wallet, right? Doesn't matter. This, oh, let me go ahead and get that. This card here, I never touch. This is my expenses card, right? This is my expenses. I never touch my expenses card, right? Then this is my SoFi account. This is my fun money. Or I'm sorry, my everyday money. So with your expenses, what I like to do is obviously you write them down and make it plain. You write them down and you divide your car note, rent, all that, and divide those by, like, separate gas, groceries, separate those from your expenses. They are still expenses, but they're everyday expenses, right? So with everyday expenses, you need a card for your everyday expenses. If you need to get gas, you need to have a card for gas. You're not trying to touch the money that is for your car note, right? So you need to separate that so you can make sure that your everyday expenses are taken care of. So the white card is my everyday expenses, and this last card at the top is my fun money. So I make sure that I have enough where I can have fun, swipe, or do whatever I want, and then I'm good to go. Now, charity, like I said, is 1%. What I like to do with my charity is have 1% every single month come out of my account. What I like to use is Share the Meal. Share the Meal is actually spectacular. I got this from Tommy Bryson as well. He said, share the meal. And I was always wondering, how can I give back? How can I give back on a monthly basis consistently? And Share the Meal actually is an amazing app where you're helping feed the hungry and you're helping them get, it's just an amazing app. If you guys want it, I'll link it down in the description for you guys. But look, I really want to break down why exactly I'm doing this, why exactly I broke this down. So back in college, I was broke as hell, okay? Broke as hell. I was so broke I couldn't get to school. I couldn't get home because the buses were closed. I had no money. I usually used the shuttles to get home. I was so broke I couldn't do that. I had to literally go to my friend's place just to stay the night, to wake up and go home in the morning. Even though I had 8-hour classes because I went to Full Sail University. It's an all year round class. So I wanted to stop spending my money. Then I was just spending and spending and spending. Even though I was making, I was still not making a lot of money, but for college it was a lot of money. I was making some money and I was always either spending it on food or liabilities, right? And I was wondering why I was always so broke. And the reason why I was so broke is I didn't have this plan. I didn't have this to show. So no one told me this, right? So if I knew this in college, it'd be a totally different story. If I knew Forex in college, if I knew how to manage my money and have financial literacy in college, oh my God, it'd be a totally different story. So I really want you guys to understand that now at this point, I have over $12,000 in investments, 5 figures in investments, and I'll come out with another video breaking down my certain investments in detail so you guys can have, kind of get a feel of how I've been doing it so far. So hopefully, family, all links are down in the description if you guys want information on on the cards I use, the apps I use, Notion templates, so you can get the budget plan that I have. All of that is in the description. And if you guys do not know, I came out with a Patreon account just recently. It's in the description as well. Go support, help a brother out. In this Patreon account, I break down all my spreadsheets in immense detail, things that I can't really break down all in one video. I have behind the scenes content of how exactly I go through my accounts. I will show you my account information and everything. All right. Also, if you guys want to learn how to trade Forex and crypto, as well as the stock market, index funds, IRAs, all that, I have another part of Patreon where you're able to get in there as well. It's a community thing. I want to help you guys. I can't tell everything. Not like I can't. It's just a struggle to break everything down in one simple video. So if I can make sure you guys become successful and get one-on-ones with you guys, get all of that behind the scenes content, all of that, go ahead and get in my Patreon. If you want all of that, go in the Patreon account below. It's a lot of things that I'm breaking down for you, spreadsheets, all that. There's so many different things that I have for you guys in store in Patreon. There's already a video breaking down in immense detail how to do the budgeting, and there's already a behind the scenes video right there and ready for you guys to go. So I appreciate you guys, and I will go ahead and see you guys in the next video. Peace out.